going on, everybody, and welcome to
Hey!
another live episode of Carbonite Bounty BS with me and the nerds. How's everybody doing this week?
Oh, tremendous.
Right,
Tremendous.
Best week of the year. Halloween just ended.
right.
Yeah.
I mean,
What did you guys what before we start with Star Wars, what did everybody dress as? I was a dragon.
I think I was myself, believe it. I was handing out candy.
Yeah,
I didn't
I was
actually
handing
dress
out
up.
candy. Last year, I was like a Terminator type guy or whatever. But this year, I was myself.
Yeah,
He was Michael Myers.
actually,
that's a
I
good
wore
question.
that mask up there.
You
Oh.
did.
See
Okay.
that one?
Wow.
Oh
But
my
That's
god.
a sick one.
Mm.
But yeah, guys, fun weekend. I'm sure people are already decorating for Christmas already.
Already.
Yep.
we got
Next
It's
Saturday.
plans. I got an
I think I'm
Excel
doing that this
spreadsheet
weekend.
going, schematics.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a real. It's gonna be a
Schematic.
real light up the sky year for me.
Fun times.
All right, Clark.
But yeah, guys, as we discussed, this episode 9 is really like a part 2 of episode 8. But before we even get into that, let's let our guy DP, as usual, let you guys know where to find us at.
Nerdcyclopedia.com, people. Make sure that you are going to that website and you are finding all your favorite social media links like Twitter. We're at Nerdcyclopedia on Facebook, Instagram, and also TikTok now. All right. Listen to us on our podcast. TikTok. On iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, we are there. If you're checking us on YouTube right now, thank you. Make sure you hit that notification button and also that subscribe button. So anytime that we're on, so you know that we're on. If you're on Facebook, thank you again. Make sure that you're visiting our Carbonite Bounty BS Star Wars group, a Facebook group where we're talking about everything Star Wars, everything Andor, anything that you want to comment on as far as Star Wars. We are talking about it on there. Make sure that you are emailing us at nerdcyclopedia.com, leaving us your feedback so we could get your comments and get your stuff on the air. If we get that. And yeah, so we are here. So let's get to it.
Without further ado, another, as we said, great episode. Definitely different, a different flow. I really like this show. I'm loving it. Really digging it.
9 out of 9.
Right.
Definitely, yeah. This is a perfect run. So, yeah, super digging this. But I'll let this week Hitch lead the way.
Ooh.
What was your initial review?
All right. So for me, this episode is all about the banal tyranny of the Empire. At every level, they're just it's not that, they're evil for evil's sake. They're just evil because it's easier to be evil. It's almost like the Empire is an empire of convenience. And if it's easier for them to lock you away for no reason forever, they'll just do it because why not? The Empire here is evil in ways that are shocking even to these prisoners who have been thrown into a forced labor camp by the Empire. Even these guys are like, wow, that's too far for the Emperor to go. And they've been subjected to this treatment that we're getting more and more familiar with. That's terrible. And I think that this is a really ingenious scene. We can see, Cassian getting radicalized here. We've seen over a very short period of time, he's gone from, I want the Empire to leave me alone forever, to, how do I hurt all of these people, to systematically, how do I hurt these people, to now I'm leading a group of people on an escape so I can hurt the Emperor. I think this is a really great flow through for character. I've been trying to put my finger on exactly why this feels like it fits so well in the canon. And the reason is the way the score is written and the way this goes, it feels like it belongs like in the 1980s. It feels thematically like what happened in culture, especially in the sci-fi that we saw in the 80s, like Blade Runner, where we had similar scores to this. And this feels like something that could have come out of that time period, which I really, really appreciate, because while being something that's familiar and very faithful to the original trilogy flavors of Star Wars, I think it also is creating new ground, and it's giving a place for there to be tension, dramatic tension and suspense in Star Wars. And we spent so much time with the Skywalkers and with the, ironclad history of the Star Wars universe that it's so refreshing to see this substrate where, if something happens to a lot of these characters, it's not going to affect the rest of the story. So it gives them a lot of really great stakes. And I just really appreciate that Andor is willing to take the risk that it's taking by being different. And it's really delivering on all the plot checks that it's been writing. Just really, really excellent. And I'm very, very pleased with this particular series.
What about you, DP?
Kino Loy. I'm loving him as just a character, period. He's like, I mean, Andy Serkis, he's not one that you would say, when you, you know what? Scratch that. When he does what when he does what he does it well. He's mainly known for, like, motion capture, CGI animated stuff and everything when he does all the, the motion capture for a lot of these movies and stuff. But for him to actually get into an acting, physical gig and not have to have any CGI or, motion capture around him, he still is effective, highly effective to make you make himself, believable in the role, make himself, his presence and everything. And I just love the whole turnabout. Man, this episode ended off great. It was just like, they planted a Chekhov's. How many guards are in the thing? How many guards are in the thing? How many guards are in the thing? I'm not gonna
Chekhov's number 12.
Exactly. Oh, and then we ended like how we ended it. It was greatness. It was such a way to just make me just like, okay, this show, the amount of detail and attention to detail on as far as, like, everything that they're going through, the prisoners, how they, interact with each other, interact with the other ones, right across the way, trying to figure out what the heck is going on and how they tie all that in with the med tech that comes. Oh man, I mean, it was just phenomenal seeing Arvel come back, seeing her, surprise, she's like, a relative. I mean, it's just well done. Episode 9 for 9 so far. I mean, what can you say?
Definitely. And what about you, Ken?
I echo all that. You know what? There's 3 things I liked about this episode. One, the Empire thinks they're so much in control that they aren't listening. They are not listening. Nobody's listening. Andor says it many times, and he knows that the Empire thinks they're so much in control and have everything sort of stacked. They have to worry about the little things.
Quick question. Why did you say that term?
That term?
Yeah, nobody's listening.
Because that's the name of the episode.
Oh, okay. I thought you was trying to point out something. Okay, I got you, Kenny. I got you. Go ahead.
Sorry, guys. It's my fault. I didn't have a crawler at the bottom.
The name of the episode, Nobody Listening, right? Nobody's listening. And that was the main thing that Andor was trying to tell his people. Now he's trying to, and you know what? One miss, I think, is we didn't really see him getting this together, getting the eventual prison break together. Like, how did he do that? I guess it was all done subliminally. I mean, we didn't know things were happening, but he's got one guy at his table. He's got another guy at another table. He's talking to somebody on another floor. I mean, he knows that there's going to be this situation where they're going to have a chance to break out of this place. And now the med tech actually gave them the final straw. Like, he's like, they released some guy from the 4th floor, and then all of a sudden he was back on the 2nd floor. So nobody's getting out of this. Nobody's going home. We are all stuck. And that's going to be the drive. That's going to make everybody say, you know what, we got to get up out of here because we're never getting out.
Right.
So that was 1. 2, I liked that we saw a human die of something that we know, that we're familiar with, a massive stroke. Never in the entire Star Wars universe has there been something that's been like so real. Like, I get it. Like, a human can die of this, and this can happen, and this was real. And the med tech was like, I can't help him because he had a massive stroke, and they immediately knew that this guy was gone. So very nicely passed on um, with some sort of cocktail that let this guy go. Olaf, kind of a Frozen reference, kind of weird. Disney, I don't
Disney,
know.
baby.
Right.
Whatever. Anyway,
Synergy.
three. I really liked the scene with the corporate policeman. I forget his name, and
Cyril.
Mulva.
Cyril. Yeah.
And that
Like,
trained me.
Cyril
is
and
there a
Dedra.
thing there? Is
That
there
was
more
intense.
there than just?
That was intense. Yeah.
It was a
Guy's
really
super
good scene,
creepy.
and you saw the
Right.
Empire start to change a little bit there. Maybe they were human. Maybe some of the Empire is a little bit human because she felt he was really trying to support her, but maybe he really wanted to be with her in a way. I mean, there was a definite energy there. I think it was more than just, I don't know, more than just political. It was an interesting scene. I liked it. I think that was the best scene in the entire episode.
That's a good clip to put on the bottom, Hitch. More
right.
than political.
More than
political.
political.
You
Because
called
there's
it
a lot
more.
going on
More
here.
than
There's
political
emotion.
going on.
It's more than all that.
That's the adult
Yeah.
theme of the night. More than political. Something
We're going to
more
be
than
getting more than
was going on.
political. If you come to the 11 p.m. show, watch out. It could be a little bit more than political.
But I'm with DP. 9 out of 9. 10
Yeah.
out of 10. 10 out of 10. Whatever you want to say. But Team Mitch, what do you think?
No, I echo what everybody else has said, and I mean, this show it didn't have the action that a lot of people would, I guess, expect. But I mean, look, we're 9 episodes into this. It's coming together, as we said, like a jigsaw puzzle, like you're baking a cake, whatever you want to, whatever analogy you want to use, right? But the way this is coming together and the way they're laid this series out is flawless. I mean, I can literally say so far that this has probably been, as far as from start to finish, as of now, one of the best well written series I've seen. That I can literally say that there's no like, even as we call the so-called filler episodes, there's still so much context to these episodes that there's no period where I don't want to walk away. I want to fast forward. I'm like, yeah, this is running. If anything, I think every episode can be like another 10 minutes longer. So that just
Mm,
shows how much
mm,
detail they're putting into these and how
mm.
much more you want. Because there's always Star Wars that we say, I want to watch more. I like your Obi-Wans, maybe your Boba Fett's. But this literally, I can every episode say, like, man, I just wanted a little bit more, like, story because it's so good. And the detail, the realism, the current circumstances, and life in general with humans, right? Because we don't have a lot of other species, other different races in the galaxy, right? This is a lot more human, and we're seeing the human element as far as literally a jail circumstance and the
Mhm.
consequences of a system, of oppression with these people. So I'm really loving this show, liking the tone, and it looks like the season finale setup is going to be our big heist of Andor getting out of this Narcan of five, jail.
We
But
got
obviously,
3, right?
we have three left
3.
or two left, right? Is it 12
3,
or
because it's
10?
12.
You got 3 left.
11, 12. Yeah, 10,
10,
11,
11,
12.
12.
Right. So three left, and obviously with this being at an isolated facility, they're going to have to fly a ship out of there, right? I mean, they're in the middle of nowhere. So excited to see this last 3 episodes, and yeah, as we said, 9 out of 9 or 10 out of 10, and let's keep it going. But as we open up for debate here, what's the first point you guys want to discuss?
I want to go back to what Ken said. So basically, that was sexual chemistry. Sexual chemistry.
There was something there, and that's something
Sexual
you don't see.
chemistry. No, not at all. You do not see that on Disney Plus. You're sure not going to see a whole lot of that.
And it was
It
there, right?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. But between the two, I don't think that, and it makes her character so much more interesting because I don't think she really knew how to react to him.
Right.
Like Charles.
Right.
I don't think she really knew how to react to him. Like she is so caught up in her mission, in her
Right.
stature. She just got promoted to where she is. She's focused. She's laser focused on the goal and the task at hand and everything. She has no time for the nonsense. So for Cyril to come at her like how he did and everything, she was just pretty much taken aback. And the only defense that she had was to come back. Okay, do you know who I am? Do you know what I can do with you? That's the only defense that she got, because she doesn't know how to react otherwise. If she was, actually let her guard down, maybe, it could be a little bit more, something between them and everything. But that's not who she is. No. And she's got so much something stuck up in her butt and everything. She can't help it.
and she went right into that meeting right after, and she was on it. She was on point.
Yeah.
So it gave her a drive, because she something there. I thought that was a great scene. I really did.
If they chose to explore that a little more, I don't know what they're planning on doing, but I know the show is called Andor. If they chose to go that, it's something there. It's just something there.
Something weird though. Like, that's not normal. It's not the normal sort of chemistry that you would see between two leading people. And my favorite part about this is they made very clear to us right before this in the show that she is a monster, an absolute, complete and total psychopath for the Empire.
He's mean.
And when Cyril goes like, I want what you want, it's like, no, you don't. You probably don't. She wants some stuff you don't want, and it's probably very bad for you. Is actually the truth, because this is a person. I love that the acting in this has been so great. I love that little twitch in her face when she's questioning Bix. It's so great.
You just like see her veins popping a little bit.
Yep.
If it's a performance of the character to this other character, it works. If it's just in the acting and it's a natural thing, it works. It really leaves what it leaves ambiguous is whether or not this person can actually control themselves or not. Will they actually lose it?
And do they have another side? Are they human? Do they have emotion? Or, Tarkin had no emotion. Totally just evil. And I don't know if they were patterning that whole thing after the Third Reich or what, but it works, because you got to figure these guys were no compassion, no emotion.
They just was straight robotic in their moves and stuff. But going back to what you said again, Ken, when she got, when she left him and she was on point with her, in that meeting and everything, it was a sort of like come down when she was walking through the hallway, pressing the thing to open the door and everything. She was like she just finished going through something. She was experiencing some emotions that she doesn't normally feel and everything.
Well, they covet the same thing, these guys. Like the thing she wants, the Dedra wants, is power and the ability to do things to people, that they can't, and that turns her on. And for Cyril, he is the same exact way. We saw he's a martinet.
Yes.
He's reckless in service to his own, feeling of self-righteousness. And so, it makes them a really excellent pair, but Cyril's a disaster. He's a mama's boy. He's not tough. He's not like, if she is literally exactly what she says she is, she's like, I am a monster. I am exactly the monster, to go back to my aughts era philosophy classes, that would super torture a terrorist if I thought it would stop a terrorist attack, right? That's like literally her job, is to do that. Mm-hmm. So, is Cyril the same type of person, or is he just a moron? Right? Like, that's a question I have about that character, because his mother seems to think he's an idiot.
Yeah. I'm thinking now that you're saying that, Hitch, that the mother may be sort of analogous to, her.
Right. A disapproving, ruthless, evil, mean, I that's not a thing, someone being mean to me is not a thing that appeals to me personally, but God bless you.
You don't like that?
No.
You don't like that?
You're not sadomasochistic like that?
No, I don't live a life where I'm waiting for someone to scream in my face. No, that's not how if someone said, do you know what I could do to you? I would be like, I don't know. Just be a smoke outline of me.
But no, I definitely agree with that first point you let on. The acting of the show in the character choice, right? The actor and actress choice, I mean, the mannerisms of their face, like you're saying, the cheek twitches, those are things you can't act that. That's all. These are just shot foots that are just rare, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they catch the emotion these people have. A lot of times when we see these in Disney projects, Marvel projects, stuff leaks out later that, I mean, the cast just doesn't get along, right? It clearly goes a long way to show that. I wouldn't say these are all no-name actors, actresses, but I mean, the selection choice for these people and
Like
the effort they're
mid-tier.
putting, yeah, right. That the effort though they're putting through for a streaming show, let alone a major production, right? Just goes to show how much attention to detail that these projects have went, and especially this show, as you said. I mean, Tony Gilroy, these guys have got this show spot on as far as what they want to deliver and how they deliver each episode. I mean, I'm just literally, like I said, every time I watch it, the tension, and as we see, you talked about Deidre's just her just ruthlessness, right? She hooks up, Bix to basically Cerebro in just like, just warps her down, right? And these people are mentally worn down. They break them down to submission, and the fact that she's like, do it again, and where's the doctor at? We're going somewhere else, and it's just like, she's almost like that next heir to this faction of the ISB. So it's
You
one of
know,
that things that
you know what I loved about that scene is that they didn't let us know what the sound was.
Mhm.
So we
right.
had to imagine, we had
Yeah,
to
yeah, we
think,
didn't know. Yeah, that was.
like
I was just
what
going to say that. Yep.
that was very great.
Yeah.
Let the audience,
Right.
don't not hold the audience and everything. So I love the scene for that.
And you know what I was thinking too? That sort of like foreshadows what happens to Han on Bespin. They use a interrogation technology that doesn't draw blood. It doesn't break the skin. It doesn't leave any marks. So there's a certain civility to that. Like, there's like instead of just beating someone till you bleed them out, you use one of the senses. We have 5 senses. We have audio, we have hearing, we have taste. Like, oh Jesus Christ, what would the Empire do with taste? Oh my God. Imagine that. Imagine they make you taste the asshole of an Akbar or something, like, or a tauntaun or something. Anyway,
wow.
So this audio
I'm not writing
torture,
that. Like, I'm not typing those words.
what does that sound like? That's terrible. And Han, they interrogate him with obviously it's nerves, it's senses, it's something. So that's kind of civil, right? I mean, that shows the Empire is a little bit above just beating someone to death.
Who's going to believe you without the marks, though? Like, if I said like 20 minutes ago that like the Pittsburgh police busted in here and beat the crap out of me, you'd be like, no way. Look at you, you're fine, right?
Exactly.
Well, so here's the thing about that.
They did not, for the record.
But they're about to.
I guess depending on how strong Bix is and everything, she could go back a completely different person, and they might be like, what the heck happened to you? She doesn't have to have any marks and stuff, physical features that you can actually see, but her whole personality could be just mad crazy, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I love like the relation to like, Han and them using like, that type of weapons ties to everything back.
That happens in every one of those original trilogy movies. We have the torture bot from the Death Star, and then Vader says that Leia's resistant to the mind probe. So this has all got to be kind of rolled into that technology,
force related, right? Kind of force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's why I assume that's why she's resistant, right? Like that feels to me like it all tracks and is interesting foreshadowing and stuff.
That even ties to the sequel trilogy at the beginning when they were trying to interrogate Poe Dameron and all that. It's like a continual, notion of
interrogations, right? You want to pull this information out of you. What's really efficient? We don't see, the Jedi don't have to do this because they know what you're thinking. They don't have to. They can ask you a question. They don't have to ask it twice. They know if you're lying or not. They can just tell. So
Even lie detectors.
so it's interesting to see the Empire sort of cope with the loss. Like the one real useful thing that force sensitivity gives these people in investigations is the ability to know if someone's lying or not. And they have figured out ways to get around that in incredibly brutal, horrifying fashion. This is one of those psychological tortures that would just be like, you can imagine it's an analog in our day, in our world, and it's awful. Like just even thinking about that is terrible. So you can feel it viscerally, and you're right. Ken, I do believe that it was a good idea to not let us hear it. Let it be, let it be in our heads. And I like it.
It was strong because I have a good imagination, so I can imagine
I can tell. I can tell.
what she was like hearing that would
Yeah.
cause such distress.
The vivid language this week.
Ugh.
And the description on how they would, describe something like that, sort of like, has like, children's sounds and everything inside of it.
Mhm.
I'm like, what the heck is this? I mean, it made me want to hear it, but no, maybe I don't want to hear it, So yeah, to put it in your imagination is such a great story technique.
Yeah. And to further on, the really Deirdre's rage, I mean, well, it's funny how we really see that the Empire is starting to really zero in on the beginning of the rebellion, right? I mean, Deirdre, she kind of lets out too much that she knows, but I mean, now we know that they know that they've been communicating. They've kind of zeroed down to where they're communicating from and who they're talking to. They just don't have a face. So, I mean, as we see the stakes now, Luthen is basically a wanted man. It's maybe days rather than months that they're on to him. I mean, they're literally right on his tail at this point. They're very close to figuring out that it is him and who he is.
Right.
It's
What would be the next step though? Do they have to break Mon? Because
I don't think so.
She's about to get caught up if they start checking.
They're checking the account, so she's already. I mean, I think
she'd fail the audit.
Yeah,
right.
This is
but
the
she's the
because of the
closest
payroll
1-2 axis, isn't she?
well, they only identify Axis as just the one person. She will be
Right.
tied to it eventually, is when they, just understand that the Senate's involved with Axis. But I think, as far as the stakes, I think this is going to be a really big cliffhanger. I think we're going to see, obviously, the big escape. But I mean, look at what we're talking about. I mean, Deirdre's ruthless. I don't foresee Marva, his mother, living. I mean, they've already trying to hang the guy, literally, that they just released to
Right.
make a statement. So I think that Deirdre's going to end up dying, or excuse me, not Deirdre, but Marva, and potentially even now that we see how ruthless the Empire has been, a couple more other casualties are going to go. I mean, Mon Mothma might have to exile from Coruscant, leave her family, leave her daughter and her husband. I mean, her daughter's already foreshadowing again she doesn't like her. Her mom doesn't do anything for her. So with Mon, she might have to go on the run, and this is where she really starts a rebellion, right, on a rebel planet.
Yeah.
Because she will be wanted as soon as they do the audit, which looks like it's coming up. So, very interesting ending to this season, and
just like Capone, they're going to get her on tax evasion. That's
Right.
it's so cliche.
Yeah, that's crazy. Right.
Her
Makes a lot of
old
sense to me.
boyfriend was going over the whole financial aspect of the whole thing and basically spelled it out. You know what? I got no way to save you.
It's,
I mean,
it's
they're
only a
gonna.
matter of time.
Yeah.
So what should I do? Well, you can borrow some money from the mob,
Right.
or
I could do some more searching.
Yeah.
And I love the I guess the tension with her on what she has to do as far as making decisions and everything, because time is not on her side. So the options that our old boyfriend is giving her is basically a no choice type of scenario. I love her, Genevieve O'Reilly's reaction to, okay, well, it seems like you already know what you're going to say. It's already you already have someone in mind, So she's spelling everything out. She's hella smart, but she's still living in a world where everything is comfortable. She is not ready to actually go on a run, but that's the decision, that's the oath that her cousin told her that she made. Well, this is a life. We made this pact, this oath and everything. So I mean, you're either going to be in, or you can't be just like dipping your toe in. You got to be ready to put it down if possible.
I also love that she's a socialite, and she's like in this tough as nails commander that we meet first, and then we find out that like her real cover life is essentially like Paris Hilton's life or Kim Kardashian. You know what I mean? That sort of life. It's like, go be a rich, spoiled lady. And she's like, I guess, like, I'll have to. I can't wait to get back to my murder and
Don't
Imperials.
Don't overlook her driver, her chauffeur, because there's something wrong there. There's something wrong because at first we were like, well, she thinks he is a ISB plant, right? She thinks he's the Empire listening to her, but now he knows that her cousin was there, and that ain't her cousin. That's not her cousin. That's a rebellion affiliate that she has.
It's both, Ken. It's both.
And he know. Nah, I didn't hear. They're not related. They don't even look alike. There's absolutely no.
One has red hair, one has blonde hair. Okay, all right, yeah. I can't
Nothing.
see how
they don't look similar at all.
Not at all. No,
they're Chandrillans.
They're not.
Sure do dress mighty well, though.
Right.
I didn't buy that from the beginning. Now, I think maybe she might be related to Axis's associate in his gift shop. I think might be related, but I don't think Mon and supposed cousin. I don't think that's real. That's all fake, and I think the driver knows it.
I just don't think her husband would help her fake that. He seems like the sort of, he doesn't seem like the sort of person to play along with her games. I just,
you're a husband, right? You're gonna play along with whatever.
My wife happens to have many cousins, so this is actually a pretty good example to pick. Is my situation. If she showed up and said, "Yo, this is my cousin," Lynn or whatever, you know what I mean? And I'd be like, I wouldn't just accept that at face. I'd ask some backup questions. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't just let that one slide.
I did have like play cousins growing up, so and then in introductions it said it's my cousin or whatever.
And you know what?
You know who had a cousin that showed
later? Okay, they're not really my cousin.
Oh, that's your cousin. That's your cousin. That's your cousin John. That's your cousin.
The Brady Bunch had a cousin that nobody liked.
Oldest story in the book. Oh, that's your cousin.
That kid went upstairs and never came back. He's still up there. He's still up there at the Brady house.
Right. Yeah. How about everything that happened in the prison and everything, the tension that teammates, you're talking about not enough action, in the episode, but I think that the tension and amount of tension
definitely
just replaced that. You didn't really need like hardcore action or whatever. The amount of tension that happened throughout just the episode period, not to mention like everything that happened in the prison with the interaction between Cassian and Kino, just them going back and forth, and like I said, Chekhov's 12 guard thing, just calling that back, and then just everything happening with the old guy, having like the
Olaf.
Having and call him his name and everything. The man tech was like, I don't need to call him because he already knew this was fruitless. This was like why are we even wasting our time with this? We're not going to make it out of here. There's no hope at all. Except when our boy Cassie is coming in.
But look, we've got what? We've got 84 guards, and what? 4,900? Like it's 49 rooms, I think. So, times, so it's 50. So it's 100 per room, 49 rooms. So 4,900 prisoners. So without the ability to shock all the prisoners at once, right? Without the ability to do that, if the prisoners decide to murder all the guards, they can do it.
Right.
Because
they know where the floor isn't hot now. They know the spots where the floor isn't hot. So that's where they're going to go. I mean, they got this down. There's no problem with this. I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, prison riots are a serious business when they happen, in the real world. And that sort of disparity in, guards to prisoners can lead to problems unless you have a very powerful thumb down on everybody. And if they're able to cut that power because they saw what happened when they used too much juice, right? They shocked that whole floor and it shut the power down. Well, hey, we'll see what happens next.
Mm-hmm. I still want to know what they're building.
Yeah.
I still want to know what that.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, DP, and you definitely made a good point on the action. I mean, this is one of the episodes to where, like you said, you don't need that action because the tension and the suspense, right? Like the tension in this episode is so high, it replaces what you would want in action scenes. Because, as you say, these stakes are rising. We're seeing what's happening. We found out that they literally, for an unknown reason, just destroyed floor two, killed everybody, right? And now they're trying to replace people basically, and what they're doing is it's cruel, but you see it. They're imprisoning people who really aren't even criminals. They're giving them unreal sentences, and basically they're creating slaves, right? This isn't a prison.
Yeah.
This isn't jail.
Yeah.
They're enslaving people
Yes.
for
If only there
reasons
was some parallel in history to
correct.
this.
Oh, if only there was.
Yeah, to create something,
Correct, yeah.
something, to do all their, the labor work and everything. Yeah, so that was just tracking Kino from when we first was introduced to him last episode up to right now is a trope, but it's such a great way Andy Serkis is playing it. We're thinking that, okay, he is so gung-ho on getting out. His thing is like, okay, I got 200 something more days and everything, and I'm out. We serve our time and we're out. So we're believing everything the Empire's telling us. We're trusting the system.
And then all of a sudden you find out no.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. You're finding out if something that's out of your control, happens and everything, we're all of a sudden getting reactions from him that, okay, maybe this is not going to go down the way I thought it was. I may have to start listening to Andor. And then, like I said, we get the great shot at the end. How many guards? How many guards?
No more than 12.
No more than 12.
84 dudes here. That's it.
Cutscene.
But that already lets you know that him as a supervisor, he's already planned this, right? He's already part of this. He's already thought about an escape route because you don't release that information as basically a supervisor of other prisoners unless you've talked to somebody. I mean, he's already mad at the fact that he can't communicate right across the bridge, and he says that. How do you know? It takes days for information, and the guards at some point are educating him like it doesn't take days anymore. We have a system that we can know within minutes to the hour that something's happening on another floor. So it's one of those things that it's kind of like, Andor when he was, doing the heist. He's ceding power now to Andor because he really doesn't have everything figured out. He's no longer in control. And for people like him, it's kind of cool to see that. That power shift, right? From you being always in control to now like, okay, cool, I need to step back and see what's really going on because it's happening. So
yeah, he's getting he's getting woke.
Woke up.
Right.
He's waking up to
Kilo's getting woke up.
Man, this system is rigged against the Empire's rigged it against all of us, man.
Could you imagine? Can you imagine about to get out of jail?
That was a great scene too.
Yeah.
Can
you imagine that trying to get out and like they're like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna take you upstairs, and then the elevator just goes down.
This other jail.
Yeah, we're gonna take you upstairs, and you just go right downstairs. I'm like, what's going on? Where are you going? You're going for freedom, and they just floor 1. Here you go. Here's your newest inmate, and he's like, oh, jumps right on the floor at night, right?
Well, what's the point? What's the point? Like, what's the point of even doing that? Why not just drop him in a well, or why not just shoot? Like, why even bother? Like, because I mean, I know you're not gonna pay to fly him off world, but you've got all those shots, obviously. I mean, why not? Like, it's weird to risk putting him back in Gen Pop. It's almost like they did it to see if like they wouldn't even notice or something. It seems like one of those weird test balloons. But then but killing everybody. I mean, something else must have happened beyond noticing that guy. It must have turned ugly on floor 2.
Yeah. Well, we'll never know. They were just a statement. That was all that was.
That we don't know what happened, and but they're all reacting to something that we don't know exactly what happened and everything, It reminds me of Hard Home.
Yeah.
In the books, all that crazy stuff happened off page and everything. but it really, we get all the reaction to like the characters of that event and everything. So I love it when stories do that. They're not hand holding us, which is a really great thing that you can have in a TV show, where a lot of TV shows, even the MCU, I'll say this to you, T Mitch, does a lot of hand holding and everything. They don't let they don't let
Oh, speaking of payroll, they must have took DP off this week.
Hey, I recognize good stuff when I see it. This is something. If I had to rank, if I had to do end of the year ranks right now, I would make this my favorite, and then alongside The Bear, is my two favorite shows of the year. This is, depends on, I guess, how this season ends, which knock on wood, we get like a 12 out of 12. This is just up there for me.
Right.
It's the type of origin story that like a James Bond-esque character deserves.
Yeah.
We're introduced to him at the beginning of Rogue One, and I imagine, Ken, you've seen that movie nine weeks in a row now.
Yeah, 9 out of 9.
I watch it after I watch Andor, and so because Disney tells me to.
Because the machine tells them to.
Yeah.
Okay, you win.
Mickey Mouse.
This is way easier.
And you know what? I can see where, because Andor in the beginning of Rogue One is super like efficient, and he's
ruthless,
calculated, and ruthless, and he is on a mission. And in this episode, I saw that. I saw that drive. I saw he knew that he needed to make moves right now, or else maybe he's still thinking about himself and his self-preservation, but I think he also has this rebellion thought in his mind that, something's got to break here. We cannot live this way. We can't let the Empire do this to us.
You guys ever see that that they don't give him a ton of dialogue to work with? So when he does speak, he doesn't mince words, he doesn't waste words, when he speaks. And we get a lot of reaction shots from him. The show is called Andor for a reason, and everything surrounds him. He's our hero, if if you want to call it that and everything. But it's not like he's out there making speeches, giving like a ton of exposition and everything. He's out there he's just out there, just reacting to everything that's around him. It's such a great way to introduce, like you said, as far as like an origin story for a character, just reacting to everything. He's just there and has to make decisions to a world we already know.
Yeah, and think about the difference between how Luthen, recruited him, which was basically like, look, you have a lot of talent and I'd like to pay you money. And there's something in it for you. There's something in it for you, to this, which is Andor saying, look, we're all going to die if we don't get out of here. They're not letting any of us go. It's a different sort of method, but it's all about, like, Andor's all about, Cassian's explaining to them what the benefit is to them, right? And I think what Luthen was doing was explaining to Cassian what the benefits are to Luthen. Like, the benefits to me if you do this are pretty immense.
Yeah,
robbing that payroll. Speaking of pay, no, we're not gonna do
that. And it tracks so good because Cassian says at the very beginning, the fat cats and not paying attention and everything, and they keep consistent with their themes and stuff because he tells the prisoner the same thing. Why would they be listening to us? It doesn't matter to them. Why would they just be listening to us? What you think that they're listening to us? We're going to say something that catches their eye? No, they don't care about that. They got the hot floors.
That's what I said. Nobody's listening because the Empire thinks they are so much in control.
Yes.
They don't have to listen, and they can just carry on. Carry on, do whatever they're going to do, and look at the maybe the bigger things, but the small things are what you have to look at, and that's where rebellions come from. Little details.
I thought it was such a weird title to an episode when I looked at it. I was like, this is not this is an unusual title for a Star Wars type episode. But man, it just make so much sense in the context of the whole episode. It was perfect at the end of the day.
Right.
The other thing that this whole system that the Empire set up here is built on preventing any sort of solidarity or any sort of, discussion amongst these groups to not work as hard, and instead of, ranking first through 10th, first through seventh at 100, productions, doing it at like 50. Like, you can, if you work with each other, you can regulate where that finish line is. And I think a lot of what the Empire has done is to prevent that from happening. But, you know, endangering all of these prisoners' lives so urgently is really going to, push the Overton window for them pretty significantly. I mean, if you think you're never going to get out unless you do something drastic, you're going to do something drastic.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, you're going to risk your life. You're going to risk everything to get out if you know there's no open door. Like,
Well,
everything's a lie.
Also, too, we I guess we get a micro view of the Empire panicking, if you want to call it that. We're getting because everything is pretty much a reaction to what Andor and them did during the heist, you know. Is why he's in this situation, period. And I don't know what happened on the second or fourth floor or whatever, but it's still all in the realm of, okay, what Luthen said, the Empire is making moves and squeezing tighter to where people have to step up and do something. So we're seeing reaction to everything, we're just seeing just straight reactions and how characters, deal with that emotion that comes with that.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. And as we say, wrapping this up here, it's just it's hard to really wrap these episodes up because we literally, and even the people listening and watching, live, it's just like you can literally go on all night and discuss it because of the detail. I mean, there are a million things we're probably missing discussing that you might have picked up on, but it just goes to show how well written this is. And like we discussed leading up to the coming on air, I mean, we still have three left. Geez, and
Like
that's
a
usually
smorgasbord.
right based on these are running, right? That's what 45, 40,
Yeah,
90,
yeah.
130 minutes of content. I mean, they're not, doing the Marvel route or the other route if you're getting 45, 25, 15,
Yeah,
30. I mean, this is
30,
this is a
right.
this is a good 42 at least each
Mm-hmm,
episode. So
mm-hmm.
I really appreciate them giving us that extra feedback. But yeah, guys, leading up to next week's obviously for our episode 10 review, just to let you guys know we will have on our Nerd Psycho comic flick show a review of Black Adam coming up. So as always, keep your eyes popped out for that. We'll have that coming to the channel here shortly. And of course, next week, along with Star Wars, we'll be leading up as well with our live reaction for people seeing Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So as everybody said, please keep an eye out for us. Uh, follow us on our socials. Please smash a like if you're watching us live. Give us any commentary, and also go on the website and leave us feedback as far as what you think, what you like, if you have any other questions. And other than that, guys, until next week, and our bonus content coming out for some other things. This is the way.
This
That's
is
the
the way.
way.
This way.